And she's like, is there something wrong with dinner, Des? Something wrong with the roast? I know it's one of your favorites. He's like, it's fine. She's like, okay, you've said it's fine like a lot of times. Are you mad at me? Did I do something? He's like, no, I'm fine. I know I'm fine, Dad. Come on. Have you seen the way Bruce Timm animates me? And she just leaves. Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content in my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games. I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video. But chat, now we will move on to my next review, which is Batman the Animated Series, Episode 39, Heart of Steel Part 1. Episode, of course, is probably best known for introducing the character of Barbara Gordon to the animated series. Yet she has not yet made an appearance, and she is the daughter of Commissioner Gordon. And so far as we learn in this show, she's attending college, and she's, I think, back on like either summer break or some type of holiday break, and that's where she meets Bruce Wayne and stuff. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, she's so young, and Bruce Wayne has sex with her. But we'll get to that shortly, chat. That's not until the new Batman Adventures, so hold your horses, chat. But you know I love my Batman the Animated Series. This is a very good episode. I really like it, chat, especially if you like kind of like retro, like robotic sci-fi stuff. I think you'll get a kick out of it. But chat, we are at Wayne Enterprises, and it's like 5:30, and people are like, whoo, after a whole long day indulging in the antics of corporate America, chat, in Gotham City, they're ready to leave. We see all the employees leaving Wayne Enterprises, saying goodbye to the guards. Seems like a good company, honestly, to work for, chat. I mean, you sometimes die to a supervillain, or you're prey to a corporate espionage, of course. That might happen now. But for the most part, Bruce Wayne, he has a tight ship. He takes care of you. Good benefits if you're a Wayne Enterprise employee. We have all these people leaving, chat, and as you know, Bruce Timm and these animators, they're a bunch of horny motherfuckers, and we focus on this very curvaceous blonde woman, chat, who is walking up, and she walks up to the security desk, chat, boom, just hips strutting back and forth, and am I lying? Am I lying? And she puts down a briefcase, and then she just walks away. And the guard, who is just as horny and lustful as the animator, just like, it just stares at her. And eventually, he breaks out of his lustful gaze, and he looks down, and he realizes, oh, she left a briefcase. And he takes the briefcase, and he goes into the back of the room. He's like, ma'am, but she's already gone by that point. But he goes in the back of the room, chat, and he talks to his partner. And they're thinking, yeah, this woman, I don't know if she was an employee, if she was a visitor, but she left the briefcase here. And the guard's like, well, maybe we should just have it, keep it in the room for now. All of a sudden, it opens up. And they're like, whoa, what the hell? And they're like, did you touch the locks? She's like, I didn't touch the locks. And they look inside, and it's just an ordinary briefcase, chat. It's got, some manila envelopes, got a couple notebooks, some pens, graphing calculator, chat, for all that business in corporate America. But it seems, kind of innocent. They're like, well, maybe there'll be an award for it or something. Maybe we can get some money from this. He goes, yeah, let's keep it here overnight. It's almost lockup. It's almost time to go home anyway. It's almost 6. And so they keep it in the room, and they walk out. And who do they see coming down the elevator, chat, and walking through the hallway? Bruce motherfucking Wayne. Bruce Wayne is there. They're like, oh, trying to beat the rush, Mr. Wayne. He's like, oh, yeah, another busy day in corporate America. And I'm like, oh, Mr. Wayne, let me go ahead and walk you to the car. He's like, oh, thank you. Like, Bruce Wayne, good guy, Jay. Go. And they go to the doors, because the security says they put in new security systems, chat, because they're working on some new stuff in R&D. You gotta be very careful. Can't be too careful in Gotham City, where you could be killed by, a random supervillain. And so they're going to the door, and Bruce is like, fuck, this guy doesn't know which key it is. And then, chat, we come back to the room, and the briefcase is a robot, because all of a sudden the handle breaks off, and it starts looking around like a telescope. It's got a big yellow eye. It's like, that's a robot. And then it gets up, it shoots out these like mechanical little legs and go, and what it does is it breaks out of the room. and it passes by. It's just under the feet of the security. They miss it. It gets through the door. The lock picks the door, goes around the security desk, and then goes to another door check. Goes to an elevator and just rides the elevator up. Meanwhile, fucking Bruce Wayne and the security guards, they don't know. They're none the wiser to what's going on. Eventually, the little briefcase robot gets to the R&D department. Gets to the level of research and development R&D. Gets there, and there's all these security systems in place. There's these fucking turrets. It's like, is that safe to have? Maybe it's non-lethal, chat, non-lethal. And it has like a laser system, but the robot just hacks all this shit. Gets through all the security measures, gets to the door, and just literally, it has a laser and just makes a little hole for itself and just slips inside of the R&D room. And we see all this shit that looks very Batman-esque, but not too Batman. Bruce trying to cover his tracks, I get it. And it goes into this far corner, which is the microchip room, Chad. Ooh, microchips. And it goes in the microchip room, and it has like a vacuum cleaner feature, and it opens up this cabinet with all these very expensive looking microchips. They're red and they're green and they're blue. Ooh, they're color coded. That's when you know they're expensive. And it starts sucking up all the microchips. So thankfully, the alarm for in case there's like a robot vacuum cleaner, that goes off. That goes off. And they're like, oh shit, we got a robot vacuum cleaner here. Wee woo, wee woo. We got to head up there. And the security guard's like, Mr. Wayne, for your own safety, we're going to put you into the security room. And he's like, well, that's not necessary. He's like, no, Mr. Wayne, we insist. And so they lock Bruce Wayne in there. He's like, well, thankfully, I have put all sorts of little secret doors and tunnels throughout my entire building in various buildings. And so he just goes to the corner of the room, he presses a button, a secret button, and the whole room just shifts. And you assume he's like, he's going to get changed into his Batman gear because he's always got like little mini bat caves around. Eventually, the security guards, they get up to the room and they're looking for this fucking briefcase or this robot. Actually, or anybody, they don't even know it's a robot. They go in there and looking around. The briefcase kind of slips by them. When they turn around, because they're like, is that a fucking robot? And they run out, and the robot, it farts on them. It releases some type of nerve toxin or some sleeping gas and knocks him out, Chad. The robot's like, yeah. And so then it walks over to the elevator. It's like, easy fucking peasy. Calls the elevator, and then the elevator gets their ding. Doors open. Who's in the elevator, chap? Bum, 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 bum. Batman. Batman's there. He's like, I'm going to punch you for justice. Robot's like, shit. And this is pretty badass. What the robot does, because it panics, and it activates its laser, and Batman's like, oh, shit. And it cuts the elevator, chat, but the laser's so powerful that it cuts the elevator in half, and so the part of the elevator, lower part, just drops. Batman's like, shit, and he grabs on the edge because it just shocked him so much. And the robot then starts to just crawl away and takes the stairs. Batman's like, motherfucker. And Batman, this thing goes up the stairs, gets through the door up there. Batman gets out. Boom, the thing fucking shoots at him as soon as he opens the door. He's like, shit. And the rocket suddenly starts, it starts transforming like a transformer, chat. And it has like a rocket and goes boom, and it shoots out. It shoots out and it travels like up in the air in Gotham. And then the main robot body just explodes. And so you assume it's like, oh, the microchips must be in the rocket. And so Bruce, thankfully, he has a bat pack. Get it, chat? A bat. It's a jetpack glider. Yeah. Anyway, he opens up this other compartment on the roof of Wayne Enterprises, and he has this bat glider jetpack, and he chases after the rocket. Thank you, Stizzy Man, for resubscribing 20 months of incredible support on an 18-month streak. Again, thank you so much, Dizzy Man. Only 4 months away from 2 years of incredible support. Hope you've been enjoying yourself, my friend. Good to have you here. But we then cut to the rocket, which lands like right, on this beach, right, I guess, to the coast of Gotham. And this woman, the blonde-haired woman's there too, chat. She goes over to it, and she takes the rocket, and she gets the microchips, chat. And then she gets up, she walks on the beach, and goes to this car, and she just gets in. She goes, drive me home. And the car says, as you wish. And the car just starts driving her home. And he's like, well, that's weird. But Batman, he's on the case because he saw this, this buxom blonde-haired woman in this car. And he's chasing after her, chat. But the blonde-haired lady, she's like, I know you're chasing me, Batman. And so she presses a button on the dashboard. And the car, the back of the the trunk of the car opens and there's a fucking turret. There's an automated turret in the back of the car. And it starts shooting at Batman. He's like, shit. And it shoots the wings of his glider, of his bat pack, get it? And he's like, ah, and he falls into the ocean below, and drags himself to the beach. He's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, but then the lady got away. Eventually, Chad, we cut back to the Batcave where Alfred, he's cleaning up the back. He's dusting the shit out of that. And then Batman comes in. He comes in through his elevator carrying the bat pack, and it's completely destroyed, and it's waterlogged and stuff. Alfred's like, hard day at work, sir. And he's like, fuck you, Alfred. He's like, I don't need any of your British sassiness right now. But Alfred's like, haha, but he hears a ring on the phone, Chad, and he gets the phone open. He's like, oh, fuck, it's Lucius. And he's like, he's probably going to call me about the break-in that happened at Wayne Enterprises. He picks up the phone, he's like, and he switches his voice, because his regular voice is the Batman voice. He has got to put on that, that Bruce Wayne voice, Chad, socialite of Gotham City. And, he answers it, and Lucius is like, there was corporate espionage. They stole our wetware, all these microchips, but thankfully they did not get the designs in order to replicate them, which I guess, I don't know how you wouldn't be able to, based on what you already got, like the microchip, couldn't you just work backwards and realize what you need? But apparently they need the blueprints, and they won't be able to make more of these things, even though they have what we have, so it's weird. And he's like, oh, shit. Oh, that's not good. I'm going to come to the office right away. And so he goes back to the office chat. And at this point, that's right. He's Lucius Fox, who's kind of like, he runs the, Wayne Enterprises day to day. He's talking with Jim Gordon, who is taking up this investigation, this corporate espionage. And, Jim Gordon's like, well, do you know anyone else who might have been working on these projects? And the only one that they can think of, Chad, is an old friend of the Wayne family called Carl Rossum. But Carl Rossum, apparently, he's kind of like a Howard Hughes-esque character, where he hasn't really done anything in the last 10 years after the death of his daughter. But he still lives in Gotham City, and Bruce says, well, you know what, I'll go ahead and I'll talk to him and see if he knows anything, but until then, I'll defer to you, Commissioner Gordon. He's like, thank you. And right before they're about to leave, Chad, who opens the door? Who opens the door to Bruce Wayne's office, Chad? Barbara Gordon, Babs herself, who makes her debut in Batman, the animated series, Chad. So cool. Episode 39. And she's like, hi, Daddy. Hi, Mr. Wayne. And he's like, Bruce Wayne's like, Barbara, you've grown up. You were this tall the last time I saw you. How long's it been? 4 years? Guess you haven't seen her in 4 years. And she's turned into a beautiful woman, chat. And Jim Gordon's like, yeah, she's just visiting from college during the holiday break. And she goes, yeah, no, it's good to see you, Mr. Wayne. Also, would you want to meet? I think she has this little stuffed bear named Wooby. She's like, would you like to meet Wooby? And Bruce is like, no. But it's this little stuffed bear. And she's like, every time my dad picks me up from the airport, he always brings my stuffed bear to greet me. And Bruce turns to Commissioner Gordon, and Commissioner Gordon starts blushing. He's like, he knows the way better than I do. It's like, oh, that's cute. That's cute. It's a little father-daughter time. And she's like, well, I guess I'll see you later, Mr. Wayne. And he's like, okay. And so she walks to the door. And Commissioner Gordon's like, yeah, let me know about that Carl Rossum interview. But then Bruce Wayne realizes he still has the bear in his hand, and Commissioner Gordon's like, I'll take Wooby with me. Thank you very much. Eventually, we cut back to Bruce, who drives up to the mansion of Carl Rossum, and he goes to the front door, rings the doorbell, and a fucking little robot butler greets him, Chad. Look, a little R2-D2. It's like, come this way, come. It has like a screen, and it has some text on it. It's like, welcome, Bruce Wayne. Mr. Rossum will be with you in exactly 2 minutes. And it walks him inside. And everything's automated and controlled by robots. Then we cut to this elevator where we see Carl Rossum come down. Oh, doors open. He's like, Mr. Wayne, it's so good to see you after all this time. He has a very thick southern accent. He's like Foghorn Leghorn. He's like, I say, Bruce Wayne, do my eyes deceive me? And he goes, oh, nice to meet you again, or nice to see you again, Mr. Rossum. He's like, come this way. I've heard about the horrible things that have happened at Wayne Enterprises, but I can assure you, Mr. Wayne, Rossum Industries had nothing to do with it. Of course. And so they go up there, And they go into the office of Carl Ross and they sit down, all these little knickknacks and robots. And it's like, would you be interested in a cappuccino, Bruce? And he's like, sure. And the lamp, he clicks a button on the lamp, and the lamp makes a fucking cappuccino. And it's like, well, that's pretty cool. I would love it if my lamps made me cappuccinos, Chad. He's like, put your feet up, Mr. Wayne, relax. And then the ottoman, it's able to massage your feet. So it's kind of weird because it folds in and it just starts rubbing the feet like this. And it's like, doesn't seem very comfortable. But Bruce is like, okay. He's like, yeah, nothing better than a relaxing evening with some cappuccinos and some foot rubs. Am I right, Bruce? And he's like, I guess so. And he's like, hey, you want to see my advancements in artificial intelligence? And he's like, okay. And so they get up, chat, and they go it's right behind his office, and they're in this huge industrial-sized room. And right in the middle of this room is this thing that looks like it's 4 stories tall. It's this giant, it's like, that's evil as fuck. It's this giant HAL 9000 called Hardac. It's an acronym for something. It's hard, evil. It does evil shit. And then, like, Bruce is like, oh, that thing is definitely responsible for everything that's been happening so far in this episode. It's evil as fuck. And he's like, this is Hardac. This is the future of artificial intelligence. It's 4 stories tall. Not very convenient, though. And then who walks out of another room, chat? Oh, my God. Get Bruce Timm and your animators. My God, you are horny. You have this other girl in this skin-tight outfit just strutting towards both of them. And he's like, oh, Mr. Wayne, this is Miss Rhonda Dwayne. She's running the Hardac program for us here. She's like, hello, Mr. Wayne. So good to meet you. And Bruce is like, hamana. And, he's like, wow, you're in charge of this operation. He goes, I am. And she puts out her hand to shake his hand. He takes her hand. He's like, oh my God, your handshake. It's so cold. It's so steely and robotic. And she's like, oh, I was in the cold room before, got to keep all of our totally legally made and not stolen microchips nice and cold. Can't overheat them. He goes, of course. And he's like, listen, hey, I would love to talk to you about, the Hardac. And, all of a sudden, Mr. Ross was like, oh, wait, now I can't reveal everything about my designs, Bruce. You understand, one corporate, master to another. And he's like, oh, I totally get it. Well, I would just love to take out Miss Dwayne, is it, for a lovely evening. Maybe you want to stop by the house. We'll get some dinner. And she's like, that would be lovely, Bruce. And so he's like, great, I'll fuck it. How about 7? 7 sound good? She's like, 7 sounds fantastic. Mr. Rossman's like, well, I'll walk you to the door, Mr. Wayne. Bruce, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to see you again. And they walk out, and then as soon as they're out the door, good old Rhonda Dwayne, she then goes before Hardac and she just starts stripping in front of it, and it's like, oh, here we go. And she takes off, she was wearing this skin cap, like covering her kind of most of her face, I guess, because I don't know why, like that's her suit, her laboratory suit, and she has blonde hair. She's the thick blonde haired lady from the episode, chat. She stole the microchips, and she's like, everything is proceeding at your will, Hardac. And he's like, great, I need you to build a robo Jim Gordon. She's like, why? Because it'll be cool. And so then we cut up, and Hardac has built a robot Jim Gordon, peen and all, chat. We see just above Jim Gordon. He might be an older man here. He has a really nice physique. He's looking pretty good. Kirstando, good to have you here, just talking about Jim Gordon's physique. Commissioner of the GCPD, and this robot Jim Gordon's just walking around naked and shit, and she's like, he's perfect, and soon our plan will come together. And then we cut to I guess it's the next day, and we cut to the house of the Gordons, chat. I think Jim's wife he's either divorced at this point or she's dead. But we see Jim, he's, sitting on the couch, while Barbara, she's, studying all of her books, doing all that book learning all the math and the Spanish, chat, all that good stuff. And they hear a ding-dong at the doorbell, and she's about to get up and get it. But Jim's like, oh, no, you keep hitting the books, honey. I'll go ahead and see who it is. He goes to the door, opens it, and it's obviously him. It's Robo Jim Gordon, and we also have Miss Dwayne. And he's like, yes, can I help you? And then all of a sudden, chat, Robo Commissioner Gordon grabs him, and then Miss Dwayne takes out a fucking taser and goes, and gets him right in the dick. and he just falls down. And Barbara hears like something happen. She's like, Dad, is everything okay? He's like, no, honey, he's not okay. He just got grabbed by a clearly better made robo version of himself, and he just got tased in the dick. He's not, but she doesn't know that. But she goes over to the door, chat. And this is again, Bruce Timm has a thing for Batgirl. And for whatever reason, he is showing off her ass in this scene like you wouldn't believe. I'm like, Bruce, take it easy. But this long shot of you're just watching her strut, and she jumps over the couch, and I'm like, oh my God, bouncing and everything. But she turns a corner, and Commissioner Gordon's just right there. And she's like, oh, Dad, I thought I heard something weird. Is everything okay? He's like, it's fine. And she's like, are you sure? He's like, yes, I said it's fine. And he goes back to the couch where we see Mr. Whoopi, the teddy bear, and he just fucking backhands Mr. Whoopi. No, it hits him to the ground. And Barbara's like, no, he would never hurt Mr. Whoopi. This is clearly a robot version of my father. That's what it has to be, chap. Eventually, we cut back to Wayne Enterprises. Lucius Fox, she's installing some new security measures for Wayne Enterprises. So in case they come back for the blueprints, they're going to have a tough time trying to find him. But then all of a sudden, chat, who fucking walks to the door? Miss Dwayne, chat, Rhonda Dwayne. And she's like, oh, Bruce, Lucius, so good to see you. I hope I'm not interrupting anything. And they're like, oh, no, just updating our security systems right now. Make sure that those saboteurs don't come through again. She's like, oh, well, you go ahead. I won't pry at all. Corporate secrets, I understand, between, corporate overlords and such. I'm just going to go ahead and powder my nose. She takes out this mirror and starts powdering and everything. And eventually, Lucius, he finishes up. And Bruce is like, all right, Miss Dwayne, you ready to go? He's like, absolutely, Bruce. And she puts her hand on the table and they walk away, but she left the mirror chair, and the mirror is also a robot. And it's like, oh, shit. And it has a little USB port, and it actually doesn't. It just has these little hands, and it gets on the keyboard and just goes click, 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 click. But I guess eventually it hacks all the files and stuff. Eventually, we cut back. We cut to. Oh no, that's right. We cut back to the Gordons' residence, where Barbara Gordon, she made roast and all this food and shit, and that's wife material right there, chat. And she's eating, and Jim Gordon's just sitting there at the table like this, looking at everything and nothing, and he's not even touching his food. And she's like, is there something wrong with dinner, Des? Something wrong with the roast? I know it's one of your favorites. He's like, it's fine. She's like, okay, you've said it's fine a lot of times. Are you mad at me? Did I do something? He's like, no, I'm fine. I know I'm fine, Dad. Come on. Have you seen the way Bruce Timm animates me? And she just leaves. And he just continues to sit there. It's fine. Eventually, we cut to Wayne Manor, where Bruce, fucking Alfred, he laid out a blanket for him, got all these nice little hors d'oeuvres. They're big by the big fireplace, chat, and they just got done fucking, because that's what Bruce Wayne does, Chad. He fucks hard, and they're just enjoying some wine and some cigarettes, Chad, and some good old grub and things. Just talking. But all of a sudden, there comes a little ring-a-ding-ding on the telephone. Bruce, he goes over to it, and he's Lucius, and he's saying, they hacked it again, Bruce. They did it. He's like, He's like, listen, Rhonda, I gotta go. I'll be back in a bit. Okay, just gotta check something. I shouldn't be more than an hour. And she's like, don't worry, Bruce. I'll keep myself entertained. And he's like, cool, I'll be right back. And so he leaves. And eventually he gets to Wayne Enterprises, and Lucius Fox is like, Bruce, I don't know how they did it. It doesn't make any sense. He's like, did they take the files? Lucius is like, I'm checking right now, and checks files, and they took them all. And Bruce is like, well, thankfully, Lucius, we managed to give them the fake files in here. The real files are back home at Wayne Manor. But then the little mirror robot is outside listening to the conversation and reports this information back to Hardac. And then Hardac, he calls up Miss Dwayne. He's like, sup, Miss Dwayne? She's like, what is it, Master Hardac? He's like, the files were not in the computer. They are somewhere on the premises of Wayne Manor. Find them for me. And so she just gets up. She starts walking around. But then Alfred, He comes down the stairs and he's like, oh, Mr. Wayne, I know that Mr. Wayne hasn't returned yet, but I thought you might like a spot of tea. And she just doesn't say anything to him. She reaches behind herself and takes out the taser and just electrocutes, tases Alfred right in the balls. He's like, ah! And he falls down. He falls down and she just keeps on walking, chat. Eventually she starts scanning. She just puts on these glasses. And it's like X-ray vision, Superman. And she starts looking around. She's like, okay, this fucking manor has some weird tech inside of it. And she passes by this one bookcase, which have some stairs that lead down to something. Oh, no. She goes to the bookcase, pulls the book open. The shelves open up, and she walks downstairs, and she sees, it's the Batcave. It's the Bat. She's like, Master Hardac, exciting news. Bruce Wayne is Batman. And Hardac is like, cool. We'll use this against him when the time is right. In the meantime, find the wetware files. We must have the ability to create the microchips. And so she goes to the back computer and she starts hacking shit. She starts hacking. Eventually, we cut back. Bruce has returned home from Wayne Enterprise. He goes inside the house and he sees Alfred's just like, oh God. He's like, Alfred, what happened? She's like, she tased me in the balls, Bruce. That fucking bitch tased me in the balls. And he's like, oh no. And he drops Alfred and he goes over and he sees the doors to the thing are open. He's like, oh shit. He puts on the Batman costume. He's just, gotta run. He runs down there, Chet. He runs down there. He's like, Bat computer, scan for any intruders. And the Bat computer starts going, yes, no, maybe, yes, no. It starts like freaking out. And then all the automated security systems in the Batcave just come on and they start attacking Bruce. And these giant robot claws come down, grab him, and they start to stretch him. He's like, no! And that, my friends, is my scene by scene breakdown to Batman, the animated series, episode 39, Heart of Steel, part 1. To be continued, chat. To be continued. Thank you. Oh, my Lord. Hardac, that's it. Holographic and analytical reciprocating digital computer. Boom. Thank you. Thank you, Batboy. The second A is the A in digital because acronym. Very nice. Woo. I love that though, man. That's the go-to move of Miss Dwayne. Just literally taking the taser, boom, right in the balls. Well, that would do it, chat. That would do it. Oh, but I hope you enjoyed both reviews for Yu Yu Hakusho episode 10 and Batman Animated Series episode 39. I'm going to take a quick break, chat. Somebody's like, more. I'll be doing some more reviews tomorrow. I'll be doing a movie review. Maybe I'll also fit in another animated review, chat. Maybe I'll do Batman Animated Series episode 40. Heart of Steel Part 2, just to finish it up for this week. I think that'll be fun. And I'm going to do a movie review. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to end the evening, chat, before I go to bed watching a movie film. So I'll keep you updated.